So what are they? Do you know? Let me tell you. What's on your screen? No, it's not a under a microscope. See, here's one of the problems right here that I see happening. You think that NASA's faking everything. You think they're in a Hollywood basement faking it, and that they can actually do that, and it fooled you your whole life. Well, let me try to introduce a different way to think about it, because that is the way that I just described, with NASA hiding the truth and people at NASA faking space. Doesn't work. Sorry, doesn't work. Especially when NASA actually is just taking video of things that they see up in the sky when they go up there. Let me hit this play button again. Do you see that? What that is? Let me explain something. Okay, so that's a tether. It's floating behind the space shuttle, and it's actually moving orbital velocity. So the space shuttle, where the camera is mounted, is pointed at that line, that tether, whatever it is, and they're both moving 17,500 miles an hour. So my question is, if there's not some kind of medium up there, if it's a vacuum and it's no spiritual place, it's just physical material space, if that is the case, then tell me how these, whatever they are, move around all over the place in that orbital trajectory. Keep in mind, everything in this image is moving 17,500 miles an hour. This is why when someone has an idea about reality, they will do anything to reinforce that reality that they believe in. And that's what I've changed. I don't believe the things that I was taught. Excuse me. I don't believe the things I was taught at all, because of video like this. I mean, this is just one example. But if you can tell me that you know what that is on the screen, and keep in mind, they're on an orbital trajectory. They're moving very fast on a specific path. And all of these things that we're seeing on the screen are following with them in that path. Yet they can move sideways while they're on that trajectory. They can move all over the place while they're on that trajectory. You know what these are? These are spirits. These aren't physical and material. These are in the infrared spectrum. So my question to you is, are you going to ignore it? That was way back in 1996 that was filmed. They are like, yeah, we're seeing a bunch of stuff. They didn't know what they were seeing. So if NASA's faking space in a Hollywood basement, then what is that? Somebody tell me, what is that? Because it's a lot more serious than that. If you're a person that sees the truth, if you're a person that had your life turned around in a way that is not easy to put to words. Wes F.E. says, looks like a needle under a microscope. It may, but that's not what it is, unfortunately. It would probably be cool if it was. But what it really is the blackness of darkness that the Bible says it. And here's like, I'm kind of on a rant, because like you guys see me, sometimes I don't make a video for a while, or I don't go live for a while. And that's always because I'm looking around at the world around me, and I'm watching the people go crazy, and I'm watching the people that appear to be more awake and able to see truth. I see them going crazy as well. A lot of them. An example is the people that believe the Bible, they don't really believe it. They say they do. But there's something going on in the sky that they don't acknowledge, which I don't understand why. Maybe it's something I've been shown, and Thomas Morgan has been shown, and Coffeehouse Theology has been shown, and some other people have been shown. Something that became clear to us throughout these last few years. And I think it might even be Tim Pack right there. Thank you. Tim Pack is seeing the same way. He says, they are imprisoned spirits in the great abyss of darkness. I understand that we were taught about space. Okay, when we were kids, there was movies like Star Wars out, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. This stuff, okay? That stuff, just because that was how we grew up, doesn't mean that we couldn't have grown up in a situation that was misunderstanding the reality around them. Every time someone thinks of hell, for some reason they think of some place inside of the earth or something. Hey, maybe it is. Maybe it is in the heart of the earth. I've read that Jesus descended to the heart of the earth. But what about at the end of days? What is okay, God showed visions to some prophets, and they wrote them down, and we have what they wrote down. And when I point out that, hey, these beasts that these guys saw, every single one of them went from the ground up to the sky. Like even in Zechariah 5. I'll just go over some examples. Thomas Morgan's putting some of them in the chat there. I can see. What about Zechariah 5? When the angel tells him, here's just something that people aren't acknowledging, or maybe not able to, which I don't know why. But do you know there's a curse mentioned in Zechariah 5? A curse that goes over the face of the whole earth. It's a curse. And Zechariah is told about this curse, and the angel asks Zechariah, "What is it?" He tells him to look, and he's like, "What do you see?" And Zechariah is like, "I see a flying roll." And then he tells him the size. And what does the angel say? This is the curse that goes forth over the face of the whole earth. Okay, I'm just giving examples. Daniel 8, he watches this little he-goat. He called it a he-goat, and it had a notable horn between his eyes. He watched that thing go up to this ram and, attack it and pull it all the way up to the sky. And Daniel actually said when he saw this ram coming, it wasn't touching the ground. It was moving over the face of the earth without touching the ground. It was flying. And it flew over to him, or to the ram, and it pulled the ram, and it started pulling the ram up to the sky. And as it was pulling the ram up to the sky, it was breaking into pieces, and then another part would come up from that broken part. And then it would do it. It did it again, and another little horn came out. Have you guys ever heard of stage separations on a rocket launch? This is what blows my mind. When Daniel describes literally all the stage separations of a specific rocket, a very specific one, that he described visually. And by the way, the word ram, not likely an animal in this situation, because it was flying in the sky. the ram was. And it was breaking in pieces and stamping the residue with the feet of it. Okay. Anyway, that horn waxed great, even to the host of heaven. It's Daniel 8, verse 10. You can look it up yourself. The horn pulled that ram all the way up to the host of heaven and cast down some of the stars from the sky down to the ground. Dwayne Glower says, I think Apollo had 3 stage. That sounds about right. And if we look at the book of Revelation, which maybe we will do, if we look at that book, we find that Apollyon is mentioned. He's the angel of the bottomless pit. He has a kingdom of darkness. Where's darkness? I think we already talked about that. Tim Pack already mentioned it. Abyss of darkness. Do you know that NASA describes the solar system as a bottomless pit? That's what science says. I'm going to show you guys something too. Okay, so rockets. Don't think it's crazy that rockets would be in your Bible. It just happens to be the end of days that was described that these guys saw. They already saw these rockets. Enoch saw them. Enoch chapter 57, it's very clear. He saw men riding on these crazy loud vehicles, so loud it shook the heavens. And it moved the foundations of the earth out of their place. And biblical creation talks about the foundations of the earth. Well, what would those be? We've actually had some great examples of the strength of the wind. The wind is the strongest thing in this world. It can destroy any material known to man. And it's stronger. It can lift more weight than anything. The wind can. It can lift more than anything. So when Enoch says that he saw the treasuries of all the winds and he saw how God had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth, I know what he means. The winds hold up the heavens. That's what it says in Enoch chapter 18, verse 2. It says, Enoch said he saw the cornerstone of the earth, and he saw the 4 winds which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. So the foundations of the earth and the firmament and the pillars of heaven. It's all the winds, the 4 winds. But you don't have to believe Enoch. I mean, that's up to you. But it sure is interesting when the Bible mentions a dragon fighting against the angels holding the 4 winds from hurting the earth. You know, there is a dragon fighting those 4 winds. Maybe I should show you a video of it. See, this is what's interesting to me. What, like, let me take you over to the desktop just for fun. Let's just go to Google and let's type in Revelation 12. Or should we do 13? Well, let's just do Revelation 12. Because that's where I'll just do this. Revelation 12, Red Dragon. Okay. So Bible Gateway, Wikipedia. A fiery red dragon. Okay, let's see. We could go to the book of Revelation, but really what I wanted to do was, I don't understand why people don't. Okay, let's do this. Let me search for red dragon, and let's just do red dragon SpaceX. That's the only red dragon that's up in heaven. So here's one right here. And it is a little horn. Look at that. It's a conical shaped capsule. SpaceX Red Dragon. So this capsule, this dragon capsule, That's the cat's meow today. That it gives the space station the ability to stay up there, whatever. No, there's a lot of people that would want to say that's all fake. And you can say that, but what does the world believe? So if you think it's fake, let's say this. If you think it's fake, do you think it could be that maybe someone from above, some higher power, is making you able to see through a lie and not even know it? That's what I see. That's what I see happening. I see people rejecting a silly thing to them, but it's the reality to the rest of the world. Kind of like curvature. That's a silly thing. Very silly thing, but it's a reality to the rest of the world. I don't see that part of the world has left me. I don't see any curvature. I don't see any kind of globe. I don't see any kind of rotation. I don't see nothing like that. It's all a lie. You're going to try to say science is wrong for thousands of years? Yep, that's what I'm saying. Science is wrong. I'll give you an example. I just made a video this week that was a quick example. Well, if you go outside tonight and you mark where a star is, and if you go back out 5 minutes later and you mark where that same star is, I guarantee you the star, not you, the star, will have moved. The star is in motion. Not you, not the ground. That's only pretend. That's something you've never experienced. The ground isn't moving. Like I was in, I think, MC Tunes chat talking or back and forth with someone, and they got mad at me because I was pointing out that what we observe. And they're like, don't you tell me what I observe. I observe a rotating Earth. And I'm like, no, you don't. Nobody observes a rotating Earth. Nobody. Why would you say that? You observe a rotating sky. Everybody knows, children included, that the stars move in the night sky. The moon moves. The sun moves. Not us. The ground is just stationary. So I know that it sounds, people say, well, if you're on a spinning merry-go-round or if you're on a moving train and with no windows, you have to have acceleration or deceleration to feel it. Well, that may be, but the point is that we're observing it not in motion. See, you can make up motion in your mind and attribute it however you want. But the fact is that right now, the room you're in, it's a great match to the rest of the reality you've lived in your whole life. It's not moving, see? Do you notice that? I mean, I tell that to people and they tell me everything's moving. I say, except for the ground beneath your feet, that's not moving. Clearly. How would it be moving? Of course it's not moving. It's only moving if you want to imagine. Well, let's do this. I got to go to my program here. Sorry. Let's put you on where I used to live. Let's see. Have you lived there? I think you've lived there. Okay, that's where you live. And you're moving. You're on there moving right now. Are you kidding me, guys? I know we all believed it. What I'm saying is that it's silly now. Look at the room you're in. And now try to compare that with the moving ball on the screen. Which one are you living on? Are you living on the room that you're in that's not moving? Or are you living on that green ball that's moving? That you have to go into your imagination to be at. Yes, Cheyenne S said I can look at a star now, go back outside in an hour, and it is clearly moved. The star. Yes, that's called an observation. And science, modern science of today, the first thing it has to do is reject that observation. Well, it only moved because we rotated. That's what modern false so-called science would say. It would say, well, I expect that to happen on a rotating globe. Okay, but you didn't observe that rotating or the globe. You can expect it to happen in an imaginary cartoon world even. Make up your own. I think they got a video game for that, don't they? I forget what it's called right now. Where you can build your own little world and stuff. Right? Let's see here. Welcome, guys, by the way. Welcome, everyone who's coming in. So, yeah. Don't choose this green ball on the screen. So, I'm going to play something for you. We're going to get back to this, this right here. Okay. If you're a flat earther and you see this video, do you think NASA's faking this video? Or do you think this is just a video that NASA took out of the shuttle? That a lot of flat earthers say these videos don't exist. But here it is. There's a lot of weird stuff up there. Tim Pack, I'm in the same place. I'm living on the circle inscribed on the plane of the earth. That's right. That's where I live too. You know what's so funny is that globe isn't there anymore. So what are these things right here on the screen? Well, let me show you what I think they are. Okay, this is, you guys will like this. This is pretty catchy, this video I'm going to show you. Okay, ooh, gave you a little preview there. Okay, this video that I'm going to play right now has a clue for us in it. It's, okay, so Jesus went to a place and there was this man tormented with a bunch of demons. And that's in this video. And I want you to pay attention to where the unclean spirits or the demons, when they're talking to Jesus, they beg him not to send them somewhere. And I'm trying to tell you that this is where they don't want to go. Space. Yeah, Tiger Bear, that is a tether. I'll try to show you a little bit of footage of that as soon as we watch this animation, this one. And I put music to it, and the music is from, it's actually in the description of the video already. White Bat Audio. They've got some pretty cool music. So let's watch this. What I'm trying to do is just, let's all wake up. Wake up. NASA's not faking space. They're going to a place that is, by them doing it, it's going to end the world as we know it. And someone will come and save people, or is already. Check this out. And off they go into the cliff. Okay, there's a little hint at the end here, so pay attention to the end.
As you can see, Gertrude is healthy and happy. You can just, if you look closely, you can just barely see the scar where the implant was put in. And now let's take a look at the real-time data that's being transmitted from Gertrude's Neuralink implant. Neuralink implant. Neuralink implant. Neuralink implant.
Neuralink implant? Anyone? Anyone? They're putting that in humans this 2022, I guess. Yeah, Elon Musk put it into a herd of swine. I don't know if that's of any significance to you guys. Legion, for we are many. Let's see here. He says, what is your name? Legion, for we are many. Don't cast us out into the deep. Why were they saying that? Where's the deep? Let's all together have a lesson in biblical cosmology real quick. Because there's something called the deep, and it's above the earth. It's up in the sky. And it's dark waters and thick clouds of the skies, according to the Bible. In the beginning, God created the, however you want to look at it, heaven and the earth. Heavens and the earth, plural. There's more than one heaven. Okay. Second verse in the Bible. Let's look into it. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Okay, why do I say it's up in the sky? Because of this, what it says next. The Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Well, if we go like to Revelation, there's a sea of glass, and God's throne is right there. His Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. The deep, it might be under the earth and above the earth, but the darkness upon the face of the deep is certainly above the earth. Look at this. Whoops. Look at these Hebrew words. Let's see what it says for deep. We know darkness is like, there's two kinds of darkness. There's like obscurity, like spiritual blindness or that type of darkness. And then there's just literal darkness, like literal darkness, absence of light. When there's no light, there's darkness. So, of the deep. Whoops, did I already click on that? I think my computer is just a little slow. Tom Morgan said it, the abyss. Hello, Beck and Beulah and everybody. Holistic Media, Tiger Bear, Eric El Toro, Snelda, Matthias, and welcome, guys. Tehom. Tehom. We know that word. Deep sea abyss. Okay, so let's figure out. Let Let me just find out what to type. I'm trying to explain something to you that NASA told us where the abyss is. And it's the abyss of darkness. It's the deep. And they go there with their shuttle and their Dragon. With SpaceX Dragon. They go there. Okay. See, this is why I know that NASA's not faking anything at all. They're believing a lie. They're being led into exactly what the prophets wrote. Exactly what, like, the vision of St. Paul. He looked back on the firmament and he saw in the same place power that deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men. He saw evil spirits. So did Isaiah in the ascension of Isaiah. He saw Samuel and his hosts in the firmament. And Satan's angels were fighting with one another in the firmament. In the sky. So I don't want anybody to think that this is an idea that I have. When we're, let's see here. I already lost where I was going here. Let's see, orbital velocity and free fall. Maybe I spelled that wrong. I don't know. Okay, near the surface of the Earth, an object in free fall in a vacuum will accelerate at approximately 9.8 meters per second squared, independent of its mass, with air resistance acting on an object that has been dropped. Okay, it will reach terminal velocity. Let's see here. Let's get a little bit more. Here we got Glenn Research Center, free-falling objects. Okay, let's do this. See, what I'm trying to explain to you is that science, like modern science, the same science that I'm saying is BS, because they start by first totally rejecting the only observations they make and saying, no, that's something else. That's not science. Okay, but I'm calling it modern science or so-called science or whatever, because it's just not science. I think it's funny when all I do is bring up that we observe a stationary Earth and a rotating sky, and people flip out about that. People have such a problem with that. No, that's us. That's because the Earth is turning. Like, no, that's your theory or that's your idea, or actually what that is, that's the faith you have in an idea. That's your belief. Let's see here. Free-falling objects. I'm just kind of skimming. Maybe I'd be better off to find a specific... Let's do a search. I don't know if I can do this. I know I can, but I don't know if I'll be able... if my video will be taken down. I just want to show you what NASA scientist Michelle Thaler says about it. Let's see. Or I don't know what it would be, 0G. See, everywhere in space. Okay, let's see here. Floating astronauts. I think it's this one. And you know what I can do? I can be sneaky, and we can look at it here. We'll watch it on a small window. Might get away with that. So let's see here. Let me change the background. Sorry, guys. Okay, we'll try this. I don't know. I have to watch my feed just so it doesn't get shut down. I don't think it will. Let's watch this. Basically, I just want to hear what she's saying.
Today, you have to manage expectations and lower wait times. With IBM, you can do both. Unifying apps and data across clouds helps you predict and manage supply chain issues for your business and for your customers.
Joshua, you ask a really great question. Why is there no gravity in space? I bet you've seen pictures of the astronauts up in the space station, and they're floating around as if there's no gravity at all. And this is actually a really interesting misconception about what's going on with the astronauts. And it gets to one of my favorite questions in all of astronomy, and that is, what is an orbit? What's happening when astronauts are orbiting the Earth, and why does it appear like there's no gravity in space? So to talk about why this is kind of a misconception, the astronauts are about 200 miles above the surface of the Earth in the space station. The space station orbits around us about once every 90 minutes. And it's not that they're so far away from the Earth that there's no gravity. In fact, if you built a skyscraper that was 200 miles tall and you were up on one of those top floors, you might weigh a tiny little bit less, but you'd probably weigh at least about 80% what you normally would. You're really not that much farther away from the Earth. So it's not that they're weightless because they're in space and far away from the Earth. They're actually close enough to the Earth to feel the gravitational pull of the Earth itself. So what's going on? Why are they floating around? Well, this is what an orbit really is. We have to get spacecraft going very, very fast to put them into orbit. That's why we put them on rockets. Rockets launch spacecraft and get them going very, very fast. And if you're in orbit where the space station is, you're traveling at about 17,000 miles an hour. Now, what happens to those astronauts is that they're going very, very fast, but they're actually freely falling towards the Earth. The Earth has gravity, and that gravity is pulling them down, just the same as what would happen as if you dropped a ball. If you dropped a ball, it would fall to the floor. The same thing is happening to the astronauts. They are falling towards the surface of the Earth. But here's the cool thing. They're going so fast, they keep missing the Earth as they fall. And that's the...
Hence, curvature. Isn't that funny? That the only reason that science, modern science, so-called science, will tell you that an orbit is an orbit isn't because they see themselves going around a globe or something. It's only because it has to be curvature. Because they don't believe in a spiritual realm. They say, did you notice she said the space station where it's orbiting is moving 17,500 miles an hour? If it doesn't move that fast, it falls to the Earth. This is why it's like a key that they got. To go to space, there's this very specific routine that has to take place. And it's very specifically the same every time. You have to go sideways. It's quite simple. You have to go sideways at that velocity, and then you'll stay there. But anything that's not in that state of free fall, and they think it's because of curvature, I think it's because they've just entered into hell. But that free fall, that perpetual free fall, here's an example. The space station has been orbiting the Earth for 22 years and still hasn't reached the bottom, guys. It is literally in an abyss of darkness, and the Bible talks about an abyss of darkness. Outer darkness, where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And NASA even sends us videos of whatever those things are, following along with the shuttle. But they're swimming all over the place. So what I want you to pay attention to is we're going to watch this whole video because YouTube hasn't given me any trouble. But we're going to watch it. It's only 2 more minutes or whatever. But listen to what she's going to describe about everything that's in the solar system is in that state of falling. Anything that's in space ever is free falling. And if it's not free falling in space, it's falling back to the Earth because it's the only place that there is. If you don't get that sideways velocity, you'll just fall down under the ground again. But if you find that specific place, you can stay up there. And it's not really up there because you're falling into darkness. I suppose you could say it's up there. Because from where we're at, it's right up there. It's up in the sky that we see these things going over. So here we go. We'll finish watching.
The definition of an orbit. Now think about it this way. I talked about dropping a ball. The ball just falls straight down. What would happen if I put the ball in a little cannon and shot it out? The ball would start to drop towards the earth the minute it left the cannon, but the cannon has given it some velocity. And so the ball might go 100 yards, right? It might actually go 100 yards before it fell because the cannon gave it that velocity. Now, let's take an even bigger cannon. Let's take a huge cannon that can shoot things many, many miles. So you shoot the ball out, the ball is still falling freely towards the earth all the time. But now it goes farther because you've given it more velocity. And maybe with a really big cannon, you could shoot a ball 100 miles. What about with a rocket? With a rocket, you could get something going so fast, up to 17,000 miles an hour, that as it fell freely towards Earth, Earth would keep curving away under it and it would keep missing it. That's what an orbit is. And that's why you need a rocket to get into orbit. You need to get yourself going so fast that as you fall back towards Earth, you keep missing it. So the astronauts are not weightless because there's no gravity in space. The astronauts are falling, the same way a skydiver is falling freely through space. It's just that they're going so fast, they keep missing the Earth. They are all the time falling towards the Earth, going fast enough that they keep missing it. Everything that's in orbit around anything else is doing the same thing. Right now, you and I are falling freely towards the sun, but the Earth is...
Yeah, Michelle, I'm sure we are. Because there's a lot of evidence of us falling towards the sun when the sun goes over our heads in the sky every day. See, this is not science, guys. This is the opposite of science. This is, I can make something up in my mind and believe it, and if the people around me believe it, then it must be true, and then we can preach it to everybody. That's what's going on with Michelle Thaler and all the stuff about orbits and everything. Did you hear what she just said about everything up there in the solar system is all falling the same way?
Diver is falling freely through space. It's just that they're going so fast, they keep missing the Earth. They are all the time falling towards the Earth, going fast enough that they keep missing it.
That's what she says. Have you ever watched the space station fly over? It's not falling. It takes like 8 minutes to go over, and it's not falling that whole time. It's flying over you. Like parallel to the surface of the Earth. Think about it. That's just flying. And they say, well, there's no friction. Great. That means you're in a place that you know nothing about. Just think about that. Okay, listen to what she says about the solar system. So what I'm saying is the solar system is outer darkness, the same outer darkness that Jesus cast unclean spirits into.
Everything that's in orbit around anything else is doing the same thing. Right now, you and I are falling freely towards the sun, but the Earth is moving actually at about 30,000 miles an hour, and we...
Michelle, citation, please. The Earth is not moving at 30,000 miles an hour. That's only for crazy people. Hey, flat fellow, how you doing? Good to see you here. The only thing falling is the IQ of people who believe this. That's what's so scary about this. Is the space station, here's what I see it as. It came up from the bottomless pit. Okay? It's soaring in the air of the underworld. Ceaselessly soaring. That's in the Apocalypse of Abraham. Like chapter 30 or 31 or something. It says, it mentions ceaselessly soaring in the air of the underworld. And then what did Paul said something about Satan masquerading as an angel of light? Yeah. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Where does God live? God lives in the sky. That's what he said. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. I want to show you guys a cool video, if I can find it. It's about the stars. Or wait, just a quick public service announcement first. We're going to get rid of Michelle, sorry. Oh no. Okay, public service announcement.
Now it's because I'm distanced from you. You'd probably have a hard time hearing from me right now. Should I have a mask on and that be muffled?
Mr. President,
You're going to have to take that off, please. You're very muffled, so if you would take it off, it would be a lot easier.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Hello, there it is.
Yes.
I can't hear you. I said I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. You're very muffled.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I can't hear you. Us carpenters are hard of hearing, guys. Run the saw too much or something. I have a hard time hearing, so I read lips, I guess. When you're wearing a mask, I can't hear you. But just saying, whatever. Maybe it's supposed to be that way. Maybe you're a little antisocial or something. That's fine. So a quick video, a little bit off topic, but a quick video about why boats sailing away seem to go down a curve, but they don't. This is borrowed from my other channel, which we'll grab a link for in a minute.
Why do boats disappear from the bottom side first as they sail away? Most people say it is because of curvature. This is not true. Water never takes a curved shape at its surface. Waves, swell, tides, and the general movement of the water causes the surface to be many different shapes when in motion. But when a body of water is at rest, the surface of that body is flat and as a mirror is. If we are looking at a boat that is near the shore, we can see waves bouncing against the bottom of the boat. What happens if the boat shrinks in angular size, but the waves close to the shore stay the same size? As the boat sails away, it will be obscured by the waves that are closer. This causes the illusion that the boat is going down. But it is just sailing away on the flat surface of the water. We were all taught to think about these things only one way. Open your mind to understanding it another way. There is truth to find that is different than what we all have believed. Thank you for watching.
So that is my other channel, one of my other channels. Parkway, thank you. Just put a channel to my backup Effed Up World 2 channel. Tiger Bear says something interesting. Wouldn't it be going out to the bottomless pit? Well, there's one interesting thing that comes to mind when you say that. Is in Isaiah 14 it says Satan or Lucifer that he's going to do all these things. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will, he says something about the congregation in the sides of the north, which I'm not sure what that means. But then he says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. But thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. And the interesting thing is in order to go to space, they literally have to go sideways. So I just see it as, I see it as the key to the bottomless pit. Orbit, whatever you want to call it. Because they're clearly being deceived when they go up there. I want to share something with you about that. I just think this is so important. Paul, the apostle, wrote a book and buried it under his house. And it the guy who lived in his house later on, found it under the foundation after an angel told him to dig it up. And you can believe the story, you can believe the book, whatever, it doesn't matter. The story's in the book, and I'm going to it right now. Paul wrote about when he went up into he was taken up into the third heaven. And I'm having a hard time finding it, but I know it's right here somewhere. There it is. Okay. This video, this is from the Vision of St. Paul. When I find it. I already found it, but I got to go into my program and find it. Sorry. And Paul wrote about, the angel told him to look back on the firmament. And Paul wrote what he saw there. And I think that we should all take these words to heart. Because he's given us a great warning about what space exploration winds up being. Okay? And the angel answered and said unto me, Follow me, and I will show you the place of the just, where they are led when they are deceased. And after these things, taking thee into the abyss, I will show thee the souls of sinners, and what sort of place they are led into when they have deceased. And I proceeded back after the angel, and he led me into heaven. And I looked back upon the firmament, and I saw in the same place power, and there was their oblivion, which deceives, and draws down to itself the hearts of men, and the spirit of detraction, and the spirit of fornication, and the spirit of madness, and the spirit of insolence. And there were there the princes of vices. These I saw under the firmament of heaven. And again I looked back, and I saw angels without mercy, having no pity, whose countenance was full of madness, and their teeth sticking out beyond the mouth. Their eyes shone like the morning star of the east, and from the hairs of their heads sparks of fire went out, or from their mouth. And I asked the angel, saying, Sir, who are those? And the angel answered and said unto me, These are those who are destined to the souls of the impious in the hour of need, who did not believe that they had the Lord for their helper, nor hoped in him. And he took me down from the third heaven, and led me into the second heaven. Okay, so I just wanted to, before he tells us about this second heaven thing, I wanted to point that out. The spirits of the impious, the people who didn't put their hope in the Lord. Put your hope in the Lord. He'll manifest himself to you if you haven't. Tell him. What I'm saying to you is he's as real as your hand is. He's very real. He's taken and changed my life. This is not a fairy tale type of thing. These prophets that wrote this stuff, don't tell me or don't ask me how it all happens. I'm just pointing out that they clearly saw the days that we're in right now, and they wrote about them. And actually, when I press play again here, he's going to talk about this other place, the land of promise, and this is an amazing thing. And if we think about what we've all been learning about this new way to look at the whole creation, a true way where there's a firmament and there's waters above, and we're learning a lot more about what's above. But listen to what he says. It's quite amazing. Again he led me on to the firmament, and from the firmament he led me over the doors of heaven. The beginning of its foundation was on a river which waters all the earth. And I asked the angel and said, Lord, what is this river of water? And he said to me, This is Oceanus. And suddenly I went out of heaven, and I understood that it is the light of heaven which lightens all the earth. For the land there is 7 times brighter than silver. And I said, Lord, what is this place? And he said to me, "This is the land of promise. Hast thou never heard what is written? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. The souls, therefore, of the just, when they have gone out of the body, are meanwhile dismissed to this place." And I said to the angel, "Then this land will be manifested before the time?" And the angel answered and said to me, "When Christ, whom thou preachest, shall come to reign, then, by the sentence of God, the first earth will be dissolved, and this land of promise will then be revealed. And it will be like dew or cloud, and then the Lord Jesus Christ, the King eternal, will be manifested and will come with all his saints to dwell in it. And he will reign over them 1,000 years, and they will eat of the good things which I shall now show unto thee." Did you guys catch what that said? The land of promise will be revealed when Jesus comes to reign. When he comes to reign, the land of promise. Just think about that. Welcome, Belinda Brubaker. Drive safely. Hi there, great stream. I've been listening while driving. Drive safe. Mad Max says Lord means Baal. I think that when I say the Lord, I'm not saying Baal. It's more of a title or a yeah, the Lord Jesus Christ. It's not talking about Baal. But I get your drift, but I think you could look at it differently. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I forgot about the tether. Dwayne Glower, I think the device at the end of the tether was designed to force entities to manifest. Probably. Yeah, that's an idea. He says, I don't think it accidentally broke loose. Let me see if I can find a video that shows a little bit of the footage of that stuff. Because I did make a video back in the day that kind of showed some stuff about that. Let's see here. Not sure where it is. You know me. Yeah, let's watch this one though. I got another one. While I'm trying to find that, we'll watch this. How about? It's called What the Hell? Alright. Subscribe if you haven't. Click the bell or whatever.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black. Almost so deep it almost has a texture when you look at it.
Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. The blackness of darkness forever. Well, I believe he's clearly talking about hell. Because in the Bible, there's a place where there's darkness forever. And it's called hell and the lake of fire.
When you come in from a spacewalk, you're surrounded by the emptiness of space. It's sort of like the opposite of air. There's nothing there at all. When you quickly repressurize the hatch and you open up the hatch and you smell, what is that lingering smell from a place that used to be exposed to space? The smell in there is a little bit like that trace of a smell of gunpowder or burnt steak or sort of like brimstone, like a wick.
Listen to what he says here. Don't even get me started about the smell, guys. The smell of space. It smells like gunpowder, like burnt steak. Listen to what he says. Let me rewind it just a little because he just started saying it. He says it smells like brimstone, and then listen what he follows up that up with. This guy's clearly crazy.
Like a witch has just been there. Brimstone.
Brimstone, like a witch has just been there.
Fired smell.
Yeah, that'd be the abyss. Okay, so then on the lighter note, I have a video kind of making fun of how much they talk about smell. And it's called Like Roast Beef. Check this out. I think you guys will laugh. I hope you laugh.
What does the ISS smell like?
Oh, you can smell a little roast beef.
we first docked with the shuttle, there was a noticeable smell, but you get accustomed to it very quickly. So I can't tell anything anymore.
There was some I don't know how to describe it, but some feeling that it was real air that was coming in. And on the hatch, I think we told to each other, "Hey, can you smell the?"
You can smell a little roast beef.
Special, and we could really smell.
The poop remained in the toilet. We landed with all of our poop, and then the toilet was serviced once we got on the ground. It does, however, on occasion get stinky in space. What you smell in space in the cabin is generally each other. When we landed on the shuttle, after this situation for a few weeks, the people that would open up their hatch would get a whiff of this and be like,
Smell a little roast beef.
Was usually the reaction.
Let's say you're here on ISS and you need to go to the restroom. You want to come to this cabin, and the first thing you want to do is grab this piece of equipment and turn this rotary switch 90 degrees to the open position. What that does is it turns on a fan, which creates a suction effect in this hose so that you can use this yellow element for your number 1. For number 2, the principle is actually exactly the same, suction. We have a solid waste container here, and on top of it...
After you get a little experience, you could do other things like peeing upside down. This was a challenge given to me by a more experienced astronaut who said it is possible to pee upside down. You should try it, and you can. You just flip yourself upside down. You need to be a little more careful. You don't want to do that on day 1. You know, you don't want to hot dog it too much, but...
is this seat. And the solid waste container is connected via this hose to the same fan, so that, again, the same suction effect allows you to do your number 2
in weightlessness. I want to show you how it looks, but since we don't want any bad smells to come out, we're going to actually turn on the fan. It's going to be a little bit loud. There we go. Now you can lift the lid. There is this seat that sort of looks comfortable, but you don't really sit in weightlessness. So most of us actually prefer to lift this one as well and use directly the opening that goes into the bag. And in fact, there is a bag in there. It looks like this. And when we are done with our business, we close the bag and we push it down into the solid waste container. And then, of course, as a courtesy to the next person, we put a new fresh bag inside. The solid waste container gets changed when it's full, which is roughly every 10 days for a crew of 3 people using it. This one, for example, was installed on the 61st day of this year. So
okay, so where does the pee go if you do it in the spacecraft?
In the spacecraft, it's collected and then dumped, as he described. And you would want to see the urine dump was cool, because you would dump it and it would crystallize and the sun would shine on it, and it was really
beautiful.
Fun. It was something.
I can't believe I'm having a conversation.
Yeah.
A beautiful frozen pee in space.
A urine dump.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's a urine dump. Hey, it's a urine dump, and we, before you hit the switch, everyone go to the window and watch. That's it.
So you're telling me your pee was orbiting the Earth?
Apparently, yes. I never thought of it that way, but yes, for a little bit until it crystallized. It kind of disappears.
No, then it would re-enter the atmosphere.
Yes. Well.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yes. I peed on everybody.
You peed on Earth.
Yes, I guess
oh
so.
my gosh.
Now the secret's out. That's it. It is possible to pee upside down, which is kind of cool, and it is treated and it is reused. So as my friend Don Pettit says, today's coffee is tomorrow's coffee. As you're sitting on this thing, but your butt could still come off the back of it, and that's not good. So in order to keep your butt on the toilet seat, we had these 2 little arms that would press you into the seat. Actually, to help myself get the right position, is I put my arms up like this, like I was riding a chopper.
All right, that's enough details on it. I get so sick of that. But I got a better video.
Hello all, and welcome to another episode of F'd Up World TV. I'm your host, Simon Dan.
And in the sun, in the shiny part, it's 150 degrees. And in the shade, it's minus 120 degrees.
In the shade in space, it's like minus 250 degrees. But the part of you that's in the sun, it's plus 250 degrees.
Do I gotta play that again? I probably do. Yeah, let's let's talk about how accurate these people are when they're telling kids about things.
Dan.
And in the sun, in the shiny part, it's 150 degrees. And in the shade, it's minus 120 degrees.
In the shade in space, it's like minus 250 degrees. But the part of you that's in the sun, it's plus 250 degrees.
Oh, okay, so it's only 100 degrees different from one interview to the other. Nice.
At least.
That is real science.
It's a bottomless pit.
The world is flat all the time.
What does the ISS smell like?
Stinky and stinky.
They're like brimstone, like a witch has just been there.
Oh, you can smell a little roast beef.
When we first docked with the shuttle,
Oh man, not this
there was a
again.
noticeable smell, but you get accustomed to it very quickly, so I can't tell anything anymore.
Okay, so twice now YouTube's given me the warning. We've detected blah 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 in your blah blah blah. So I'm just pausing it for a minute. And we're not going to watch this. I think it might be this right there. Okay, let's watch Don Pettit. Okay.
We don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
There is a magic speed.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Let's take a peek at the process.
It looks kind of flat.
NASA's Rob Simon made this, so some of those are painted on.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. The clouds are sort of too see-through, so I just hit Command Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space, but
let's take a peek at the process.
And what you're seeing here is a mirage.
We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
No, now I'm not sure we went far enough out to encounter the Van Allen radiation belt. Maybe we did.
No. Naturally.
I don't know the distance to the Van Allen radiation belt.
Naturally.
And we used to, if we did, it wasn't a problem.
Naturally. Just as it passes over the Indian Ocean, we lose communication.
We destroyed that technology.
No. Naturally. We'll pass through the Van Allen belts.
Maybe we did.
An area of dangerous communication. Radiation.
See things that we don't know.
Naturally, radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion.
Flash of light.
The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore.
Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice.
No.
Once up and once back.
Space is not necessary.
But Orion has protection.
And it looked like it was on the moon. But
Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation.
I'm not sure.
Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
It's a painful process to
learn about Flat Earth by subscribing to Effed Up World on YouTube.
The Earth is not curved, and that's that.
Okay, so here's some original moon footage. Apollo 11. It's a little windy up there. That's alright.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. Now let me talk about that. Let me talk about the moon landing. So, whoops, what's this? Okay, so the moon landing. People would say, oh, it looks so fake. Me too. It looks so fake. Let's play this one. Another one. It looks so fake. Okay, I made this, so I'm just joking. But honestly, what is the moon landing if what I'm saying is true? If I'm saying NASA's not faking this, then what's up with the moon landing? The moon landing... I can tell you what I think about the moon landing. Okay? I believe that God created this entire world and everything that we know of. God made it all and continues to maintain it to happen, right? time and everything. He made it all. Now, there's a spot in 2 Thessalonians, I think, where Paul talks about God sending strong delusion so that people would believe a lie. And it was people who had, maybe I better go there. It was people who wanted to do unrighteousness. And it was because they didn't receive the love of the truth. Let's go look at that. Let me just go there really quick. And let me just read it a little bit to you. It's talking about the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together unto him. Doesn't it feel like we're all gathering together? That's what it feels like to me. It feels like we're gathering together. But it says a few things about this bad guy, this wicked guy. But it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders and landing rockets. I mean, I added that part. Sorry about that. That wasn't in there. That's just what I see when I read that. Signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. What is this unrighteousness being talked about? What is this strong delusion being talked about? So God made everything. If he wanted to send strong delusion, I think he'd have no problem making it possible for 12 men to think they went all the way up to the moon. But if you really think about it, it's not God that's willing for this to happen. He's not wanting that. It's men that want this to happen. And God did say back at the Tower of Babel, he said, with all one language and one tongue and words of union. So like Google Translate, he said, with words of union, nothing would be restrained from them which they imagined to do. Did they imagine to go to the moon? Welcome to Apollo 11. Let me grab a video. I think I named it, How Can They Not See This, or something like that. Let's see. Where was that? I thought I had it right here. I did grab that a video that might have some of that tether footage. But I don't remember where this other one is now. Oh, here's an interesting little thing that one of the ISS astronauts said.
So when you look at the Earth from that vantage point, I know others have said this, you don't see the borders. You don't see political borders. You hardly see geographical borders.
We're so used to looking at maps or globes. In low Earth orbit, you don't see a globe. In low Earth orbit, you don't see a globe. In low Earth orbit, you don't see a globe.
Through a fisheye lens, you do see a globe. Give up on the globe, guys. It's just not worth it. It's so false. A globe spins. We're not spinning. So, let me see here. The Dream of Apollo. Is this the one?
We could resume the Dream of Apollo. The goal of SpaceX really was to make as much progress as possible to advance rocket technology to the point where hopefully we can establish a colony on Mars. Dream of Apollo.
And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon. but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon.
Apollo.
Apollyon.
Apollo.
Apollyon.
And we could resume the dream of Apollo.
The angel of the bottomless pit.
Apollo.
There you go. He will blaspheme God's name and those who dwell in heaven and his tabernacle. Where's God's tabernacle? Where is Elon Musk and SpaceX and NASA trying to go? The dream of Apollo. I agree with Thomas Morgan. I believe Apollo opened up this pit, this bottomless pit that they found out about in about 1950 something, 60 something. And then they had Apollo. The angel of the bottomless pit. So, let's just watch a little bit of this video. It's 3 hours long, but that doesn't mean I'm going to play the whole thing. But it's 3 hours long. Who knows?
This is hopefully the first step on a journey towards a civilization on Mars, of life becoming multiplanetary.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
And God said, Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
And think to change times and laws.
Life can become multiplanetary. This is the goal we should strive for.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven, tabernacle in heaven.
I believe that it's important for the future to be a spacefaring civilization, and out there, ultimately be out there among the stars,
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
Be out there among the stars,
be
out there among the stars,
and though thou set thy nest among the stars.
If the future does not include being out there among the stars, based on the moon and expanding beyond Earth, and
among the stars,
be out there among the stars, life becoming multiplanetary. The long-term aspiration is to develop the technologies necessary to transport a large number of people and cargo to Mars in order to create a self-sustaining civilization there.
Okay, so he wants to create a self-sustaining civilization on Mars. Okay, and most of my flat earth people would be like, never happen, you know, it's a big joke, whatever you want to, they'll just say, yeah, that'll never happen. They'll just keep pushing it off or whatever, and it's all fake. But I want to show you something from a channel, and I figure what I can do is I can just play it, but we will have just this screen we have right now. I can't show you this screen. But I want to play, I want you guys to understand what people in the world think about this idea. And this is called the Tesla Space channel. And this video has 948,000 views. And it just came out today, I think. And I'm going to, we'll probably get an ad or whatever. So let me just hit the mute button. I would show you the video, but I can't.
For life on Mars is easily the most ambitious plan set out by any modern leader. 1 million people living and working happily on another planet within the next 50 years. A second home for the human race. It's a crazy idea to think about, and obviously Elon Musk isn't the first person to have this idea, but he is the only person so far with the money and the resources and the determination to actually get this thing done. We are in the very early days right now, but the seeds for life on Mars have already been sown. But what exactly are we going to do when we get there? And what will living on Mars really look like? Well, we've never done this before, so no one can really say for sure, but there are some really cool ideas out there, and it's all pretty fun to think about. So that's what we're doing today. Let's talk about life on Mars. Hey Elonites and Musketeers, welcome to the Tesla Space, where we share the latest news, rumors, and insights into all things Tesla, SpaceX, and Elon Musk. So the basic premise for getting people and stuff to Mars is actually pretty simple. And I say that only because Elon and SpaceX have already got that mostly figured out. We're using the SpaceX Starship as our mode of transportation between Earth and Mars. That's the same rocket that just completed a successful takeoff and landing test. The SN-15 prototype that we watched nail the landing is pretty close to what the final Starship product will actually be. It's just a really big stainless steel rocket ship that can take off from a planet, fly through space, and come back down again fully intact. And it can do that over and over again with only a pause to refuel in between flights. No rocket like this has ever been successfully done before. This is a true game changer. The Starship will act as a ferry between Earth and Mars. Some will carry people, but even more flights will carry supplies. The Starship can carry 100 metric tons of cargo on each flight. That's about 50 Tesla Model 3 cars for comparison. Once every 2 years, when Earth and Mars reach their closest point in space, fleets of starships will make the 7-month journey between the two planets. The first crossing will be a few ships just to test the waters, but after a few of these cycles, we'll be sending thousands of ships from Earth to Mars. We've got a full-length video that goes into all the details of the journey between the two planets. You can check that out for even more details, but today we're going to move right into what it will be like to actually live on Mars. Obviously, no one thinks that Mars is going to be a nice, comfortable place to live on day one, but just how rough is it going to be? Well, the average temperature is around negative 60 degrees Celsius, which is stupid cold, even by Canadian standards. Though in the peak of summer at the equator of the planet, Mars can reach a maximum temperature of around 20 degrees Celsius, which is pretty nice. I'd say like pretty solid tanning weather up here in the Great White North. So that's pretty nice, but it doesn't mean you'll be kicking it on a lounge chair with a nice beverage every day. The atmosphere on Mars is pretty much non-existent, and what is there is mostly carbon dioxide. The volume of atmospheric gas on Mars is less than 1% of what we have on Earth. So there's really not much to work with. And in addition to there being nothing there to breathe, there is also nothing there to protect the surface of Mars from cosmic radiation. That's bad. You see, as much as the sun sustains our life here on Earth, that's only because our atmosphere is able to block out all of the bad radiation that would just kill us if we were exposed to it. Or it might turn us into superheroes, but somebody would have to be willing to find out. The gravity is also much lighter on Mars. Mars is much smaller than the Earth, so the gravity is only about 1/3 as strong there. That's actually a really good thing for us because after 7 months of weightless spaceflight, the human body is going to be significantly weakened.
Okay, I want to remind you one thing. While all this talk about moving to Mars and what it'll be like and all this garbage, I want to remind you of what was just put in the chat by Artist of LL Yan. It was up a little ways. He just said a word and what it means, and now I'm going to have a hard time finding it. Trying to ascend above the heights of the clouds. Welcome, Latter-day Saints. That was a good song, by the way. Good song. It was like the Chili Peppers cover. It was the Flat Earth song. It was actually pretty good. Let's see here. You guys in blue, if you guys have wrenches or whatever. Oh, there it is. Planeo, to mislead. The English term planet comes from that root word planeo. And it means to mislead, to cause to wander, to go astray, to deceive. So all these things, they're talking about Mars as if it's a place to go. That is exactly what Paul was talking about when he said they draw down to themselves the hearts of men. And that's exactly what Enoch was talking about when he said they assume many different forms. He was talking about evil spirits, fallen angels. They assume many different forms to defile mankind and to lead them astray. That's what that word planet means. Keep that in mind. That's, to me, that's quite telling. And look what this world is in love with. They think that they're going to go there. But what I'm doing is I'm playing this video from this other channel because I want you to understand what people think is going to happen. And to understand why are we learning the truth. Where's God's throne? There's a sea of glass up there. The things in John's vision are real. All the things that the prophets wrote that seemed kind of, figurative or whatever. No, they're literal things. John said he said a door opened in heaven. You know what that means? That means a door opened in heaven. I've never seen it in my lifetime. I've never seen a door open in heaven. But when John said he saw a door open in heaven and suddenly he was there, or immediately he was there, and there was a throne and there was a sea of glass and a rainbow, like that description, look up at NASA's videos. Look up at what they see up there. They're messing with something that they don't understand.
So regaining strength on Mars will be easier than on Earth. Trying to come back home after an extended stay, though, that is going to be very challenging to overcome. Then there are these...
Oh, did you guys see what was just on the screen? Let's see if you can catch it this time. What is that? Just so you know, that's fire coming down from heaven on the earth and in your sight right now.
Very challenging to overcome.
That's the Falcon
Then there
9.
are these epic dust storms that can cover the entire planet in some cases. Dust is going to be a huge issue on Mars. That's what got Matt Damon into trouble when he was on Mars. He got caught in a dust storm and all his stuff blew over and he got stranded. Luckily, I'm being told that was just a movie and didn't actually happen. It's hard to tell these days which is which. They're just so good at that now. So in real life, the wind on Mars wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like we said, the atmosphere is so much thinner over there than it is on Earth. So even in a crazy 100-kilometer high dust storm on Mars, the wind is only blowing like 60 kilometers an hour. It's the dust that's really going to be the problem. It gets everywhere. all of our equipment is going to have to be thoroughly sealed against dust getting inside and ruining everything. Solar panels are going to be a pain in the ass to keep clean. So overall, the dust storms are going to be bad, but it's not going to be like that scene in Mad Max where everyone gets wrecked. They'll be pretty tame in comparison. So Mars is definitely not going to be a safe place. And like Elon has said, people will probably die. Probably not so much in the way that Pete Davidson's Chad died on SNL, but more like accidents happening to people. The margin for error with everything on Mars will be so slim, any little mistakes or equipment failure can cost a person their life. I saw Elon tell an interviewer on CNN that he would only ever go to Mars personally if he knew that SpaceX would continue after his death. So even as the boss, Elon isn't super optimistic about his chances of survival. But is there anything we can do to make Mars a more hospitable place for human beings to live? Maybe, well, hopefully. There are a couple of theories about terraforming Mars. Elon has an idea in mind that is kind of insane, so let's talk about that. Nuke Mars. Elon...
We've got an ad. And now we're going to skip it.
Support of his idea for terraforming the red planet, we should just nuke it. I know that's an extreme solution, but there is some science behind it, though opinions are split. The idea is that if you detonated a bunch of nuclear bombs over top of the polar regions of Mars, that heat produced could melt the frozen water and release vast amounts of stored carbon dioxide and water vapor into the Martian atmosphere. In theory, all of this newly released gas would increase the density of the atmosphere on Mars and possibly start a greenhouse effect that would begin to warm the planet. That does make sense on a basic scale. It's not totally insane, but it's hard to be sure whether Elon is serious about this idea. He's probably just having some fun. There was a proper study released in 2018 in the Journal for Nature Astronomy that concluded that there just isn't enough carbon dioxide stored on Mars, at least not that we know about, to actually cause any significant warming of the planet if it were released. Other scientists have said that even if there was enough gas for this idea to work, the whole thing could actually backfire.
Okay, I'm sorry to put you guys through this. He just says so much stuff here, though. It's probably worth listening to.
And cause a nuclear winter event to happen. If the explosion kicked up enough of the Martian dust, it could just cover the entire planet and block out the sun for years. Hey, by the way, did you know that we have our very own Tesla Space newsletter? Yeah, it's great. Link is in the description to sign up.
Hold on.
So we're probably just going to have to deal with Mars being an inhospitable wasteland for the foreseeable future. And if that's the case, then how do we actually live there? Best anyone can tell, we either live in domes, in dirt eggs, or underground. So we could all live under a series of domes on Mars, just like in that Stephen King book.
You could live under domes, or in dirt eggs, or underground. Wow. I don't think they're going to be doing that on Mars. I think they're going to be doing that on Earth. They're going to be trying to move underground. Like... yeah, I guess that would be kind of what this live stream's about. This world's lost it. They've lost it. If we look at everything that's happening, and people are just going along with it, like that thing that people are doing to their arm, you know, to be up to code, if you get my drift. That's going to be there's an inevitable thing with that. And we can swiftly see it. Beck from Oz is in the chat. She can see it. There's a mention of something, a mark, and I know you guys know where I'm going with this. But I just want to point out some of the things that really seem crazy about that to me. And that is that never in my lifetime has the entire world had whatever, however you look at it, been pressuring other people or been pressuring the world, or however that comes by, but everyone's under pressure to do something that to many seems wrong, and to many seems like it could be something very bad. Maybe not even physically, maybe even more like spiritually bad to do something like that, to go along with the world and in all these things that seem wrong. I hope I'm not saying stuff that I'll get in trouble for. This is the world going crazy right now. Listen to these people, or this guy talk. This is what you see in a lot of people. They think this Elon Musk guy is gonna save the world from, this world we got. They believe all this, climate change stuff that, if you read the Bible, it's not climate change. However you want to call it whatever, but it's been known about. It's been written about. It's been foretold. We've been warned. We've been told. We've been given all the clues. We've been given so much information, and it's been hiding from us, and it seems to be peeking its head out. Truth. And we believed a lot of lies. So, an example, look at the ground. It's not rotating. If you argue that it is rotating, you're believing a lie, because it's clearly not rotating. And people are like, that's so silly, Joe. You can't say that, because you wouldn't be able to tell if it was rotating. It would be the same. Yeah, it is the same. It's not rotating. Everyone agrees with me, because that's the fact that we observe a not moving Earth. Everyone does. It's never moved unless there's been an earthquake or like a landslide or whatever. It doesn't move. That's the thing about it. We all do make an observation of it not moving. And for people to say that they're interested in science, that's just an example. Science would say, okay, we know that the Earth is not moving because we all observe it not moving. It's not something, you don't have to do an experiment to know that the ground doesn't move. That's how we build our whole world off of that not moving. Well, it would be the same on a globe if the globe was rotating. Go off into your imagination, that's fine. But the sky is actually rotating, so why would you think that the ground is spinning or rotating? Because it's the sky, and there's easy ways to prove that too. If you're interested in science, science would accept an experiment such as setting a camera outside pointed at the stars and doing a time lapse where you're taking still images over time, and then you can put those together and see if there's any motion or not. And that experiment will show you that there is motion in the stars. They are moving, and having your camera not move will prove that to you along with your own observation. I have a video about that. I observed the moon moving one night. Maybe I'm going to play that. I like what it says under the dome. That's cool. But that's obviously talking about on Mars, which is sad. Let me see if I can find this video. Just a simple observation, and I think I did it pretty recently. It was about the moon. And my computer's really slow, sorry. But, here's the thing is, we do have the truth. It's right. We have it. Why would it be important to actually do science? Like if you're talking about, trying to prove something about the Earth, you can't just reject observations that are made on the Earth. If you're interested in science, you can't just actually. Let me play something for you. This is someone who. Do I have the right format? I can't tell. It's not the right format. Let me try again. Craig from Fight the Flat Earth was saying how when you follow science, I don't know if I got the right one. Maybe this is the right one. I don't know. We'll find out.
When you follow science, the observation doesn't match reality.
And that's not taking it out of context. People always accuse me of that too. Ask Craig. If it was taking it out of context, Craig would have commented on my video and said, you're taking it out of context. Craig says this, and so does Neil deGrasse Tyson says that. Your observations don't mean anything.
It means nothing if it's just an observation.
See? It means nothing if it's just an observation.
We have science. You can't just go, it looks like, because my camera was still, that the sky is rotating, therefore that's what we're going with. That's not how you do science.
But the sky is literally rotating.
No, it looks like it's rotating.
Exactly. We experience it rotating.
Yeah, okay, so now we need to test that. When you follow science, the observation doesn't match reality.
Do you see how Craig disagreed with me and agreed with me at the same exact time? I'll play it again. When we live on this world, that everybody here, everybody in the world lives here. When we live here, we have a sky that moves over our heads. That's just a fact. And I don't care if you say, well, on a globe it would be the same way. Great. It would appear the same way on a globe. I don't care. What I'm pointing out is that you're saying the opposite of what you actually observe. So listen to Craig again. Here we go.
Because my camera was still, the sky is rotating, therefore that's what we're going with. That's not how you do science.
But the sky is literally rotating.
No, it looks like it's rotating.
Exactly. We experience it rotating.
Yeah, okay, so now we need to test that. When you follow science, the observation doesn't match reality.
So the point I would make is that that's not science, Craig. Sorry, bud. And then, of course, I'm sure towards the end here he's going to throw in the Joe, you do pseudoscience. I'm sure that's what's coming up.
It can only happen if the Earth is a globe.
Screen right now of the stars turning, that doesn't match reality? That is reality, Craig.
No, it doesn't match reality.
It doesn't match reality.
When you follow science, because what you do, Joe, is you do pseudoscience.
Do you see how Craig has to reject the observation? The only observation we make is the stars turning. They rotate around the North Pole, or the North Star. Polaris is the closest star to that axis point. And they actually spin the same direction all the way in the south. So you could say that they were going around a point in the south, or you could say they were going around a point in the north. Two opposite directions. One is way on this end of the earth. One is way south on the other end of the earth. That's how the sky works. If you're on the equator, you can see very well by looking north and south. Face west, you'll see all the stars all the way to the south as far as you can see. All the way to the north as far as you can see. If you're facing west, they'll be going down. And you'll be able to see them going around in a circle going towards down. And this, I think they're called circumpolar stars, the ones that are above the horizon that you can see, they'll be doing circles. All the way that you can see to the north, and if you turn around all the way till you can see in the south. That's the observation. Craig has to throw it away.
When you follow science, the observation doesn't match reality.
Thank you, Craig. So, yeah. That's what I get over there. Let's see here. So you think you live on a planet? Man, a lot of people say that. On the planet. It's the best thing on the planet. Oh, it's hard to hear people say that. Oh, I don't have it in the right format, of course. In the deep. Yep. So I did make an observation one night, and I don't know if I can find it, because I don't remember what I named it, but it was of the moon, and I just did it at night. I had a fire going. Let me see if I can find it. Ooh, it might be here somewhere. Let's see. I don't know. Not seeing. Oh, the sky rotates, not the earth. That's not the right one. Yeah, I don't know where it is, guys. If I find it, I'll play it, but I'm still looking. Sorry if I just get all silent all of a sudden. I'm just looking. East, let's see. Yeah, I don't see it here. Eclipse map. Oh yeah, that's another thing that people need to overlook, is that when we have a solar eclipse, there's a 70-mile diameter shadow on the ground. That's all I need to say. How big's the moon? 2,159 miles in diameter. But it leaves a 70-mile shadow. 1/30th scale shadow. Nice. Never seen any shadow do that before. Anything do that before. Oh, that's just the umbra. There's a penumbra. No, I'm talking about the actual shadow here. You want to see it? I'll show it to you. I'll show you the actual one. If I have it. I do have it. Somewhere. I swear I do. Let's see. Because the shadow took 2.5 minutes to go over us. And it's in the, I was in the wrong folder. Here we go. Real-time eclipse shadow. This is my footage. Oops. Here. So this is, oops. I'm going to get rid of it. Oh yeah, no, I'm going to keep that. Sorry. I'm just showing you a proof. This is the real time. It takes 2.5 minutes. It's probably like 3 because I started the video here before the shadow gets there. But on the right side, you can see the shadow. And it's working itself toward the sun. See how it's getting closer? We're 40 seconds in, and it's actually 4.5 minute video, so I started it way early. But this kind of proves to me that the moon is not at all a place for guys to land on. Look at this distinct shadow. This is real time. There's the shadow. That's the totality starting. And it goes for 2.5 minutes, I think. The totality does. So let's see, actually. I'm at 1 minute and 22 seconds into the video. So if I go 3 minutes and 52 seconds, it should be just passing up. Yeah, it just passed it up. That was 328. Okay, here's 328, 330, 331. So there you go. That's how long it took for the shadow in real time. 70 miles, guys. Let's get rid of that. Okay. I'm all over the place, aren't I? Oh, I just I want to play this a little bit. Welcome, guys. Ooh, I got my cat too. Welcome, Bobby. Okay. Let's check out what Elon Musk... see, here's the thing. When we hear standing in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God, where's the temple of God? It's in heaven. It's in the sky. Where's New Jerusalem? It's in the sky. Where's Elon Musk going? He's going to make a world for humanity? Wow.
And that's really why I started the company, was because it seemed as though...
To create the possibility for life on other planets.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you decide you want to try and do this.
Can't just be like a handful of people, because that's obviously not going to create a self-sustaining civilization.
You'd made some money from the sale of PayPal. You decided to build a space company. Why on earth would someone do that?
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
The goal of SpaceX is to try to advance rocket technology, and in particular to try to crack a problem that I think is vital for humanity to become a spacefaring civilization.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
Which is to have a rapidly and fully reusable rocket.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
What are the things that need to happen in order for the future to be an exciting and inspiring one? And I really think there's a fundamental difference if you sort of look into the future between a humanity that is a spacefaring civilization that's out there exploring the stars on multiple planets. And I think that's really exciting, and compared with one where we are forever confined to Earth until...
Okay, I see some good comments in the chat, and I agree there. I was talking about the Temple of God being in heaven, and Belinda Brubaker says, we are the Temple of God. And I agree with that, but I think there's kind of two aspects to that we have to be aware of, kind of. And DM kind of answered the same thing that I would say. True, Belinda Brubaker, but the throne of God is in heaven. That's in Isaiah 66, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. Where's the house that ye build unto me, and where's the place of my rest? To me, that says, about us being the temple of God. Paul said that we're the temple of the Holy Spirit. And the way that I understand it is in John 14, maybe, it talks about, or Jesus talks about the Holy Spirit proceeding from the Father in heaven. And so I think the way I look at it is that God sends his Spirit and his Holy Spirit and dwells in us. And so that doesn't mean he's not on his throne in heaven. And I think it's a literal thing. Although, so I agree with what you're saying too, but I just think there's kind of like two things to maybe, like the way I look at it anyway. I'm not trying to tell other people how to look at it. I'm just saying I see God in heaven because there's hundreds of verses where, you know, he looks down like on us like grasshoppers or whatever. Like there's so many verses that say he's looking down at his creation from the Most High position. He's the Most High God. So anyway, I believe all that stuff's literal that the prophets wrote. I'm sure there's, descriptions we can't understand, or maybe, but I think that they were trying their best to put the right words down to describe what they were seeing. So, and that's why, we've all been born in the time when there's been rockets and there's been airplanes and we've all flown on jets. I mean, it's like common, everyday, normal. And the whole space thing with rockets and orbits and satellites, that's become something that's just normal. Now, there's a lot of us that it's not normal to, but for the rest of the world, it's just normal. And they act as if they understand it. But then they have videos like the video I started off this stream with. They have videos of things like that. And I don't know if they just think, oh, that's just whatever. But it's not just whatever. That's what's scary about it. They're seeing something that they didn't know, so they don't comment on it. They're in a world of darkness where the prophets wrote that there were all these evil spirits bound there and waiting to defile mankind and to lead them astray. And so they take on these forms to draw men to them. And what's Elon Musk doing? This is exactly what is written in the Bible. And the things that are coming are crazy. I mean, when it talks about in Revelation 8, verse 8, he says a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. Well, you'd think, what would that be? Enoch went to the place where the transgressing stars, there were 7 stars that didn't obey God. And they didn't do they didn't come out when they were supposed to. And he bound them. And Enoch saw them, and he, for some reason, twice, he called them mountains burning with fire. And so when John says mountains burning with fire, I'm like, that's a planet. It's like one of those it's like one of those fallen angels or whatever being cast down. So when I think of Mars, I'm like, it might look like that from whatever telescope. And of course, when they send a probe to it, they're going to get they're going to land on there with their rover and everything. It's good. They're going to get some sweet data. Of course. They're supposed to. Everything they do up there should be successful. Because what did Paul say about it when he looked back on the firmament? He said, I'm just trying to remind you, he said he saw evil there. And it was it was drawing itself the hearts of men. It's just, to me, this thing that Elon Musk is doing, and if you pay attention to what he's doing, I'll get a video, or I might have one in here already. Let me just look here through these. Okay, first of all, super heavy. Let's just see what this is. I have no idea what this is. Okay. This is what they're working on right now, guys. It's teeny. Oh, see the great claws? See those big claws? Those iron teeth? Whatever they are? Like, I almost want to just play Daniel 7. If I have that in here. It's like one of the most awesome chapters in the whole Bible. Daniel 7. Especially if you feel as though you're fighting with some power of deception that you can see a lie. I'm playing that. I gotta find it. I thought I had it in there. I didn't. Uh-oh. What did I do? Hit the wrong button, I guess. Daniel 7. Have you guys ever read the book of Daniel? Well, this is, in Daniel 7, he has a vision, or a dream, actually. But it was an important one. Let me find it. And so I'm just going to read Daniel 7 to you. Because I'm pretty sure that that's what the video is. It's me reading it. But there's a little bit of a video in the background. And to me, there's something that is happening. Where is it? I'm horrible at this, guys. I just have too many videos. It should be right here. Let me see. How do I do alphabetical? Oh, there we go. Let's see. It's not there. Okay, so before I waste any more of your time, let me just hit play on here and I'll find it while this is playing. Sorry. That's what they're working on. Bigger than any. It's twice as big as the Saturn V. Or it lifts twice as much. Found it. Alright. Here we go. Daniel 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured, and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, The 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times, and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. So yeah, that's probably one of the most crazy chapters in the whole Bible, I think. It describes, to me, when it's talking about these great beasts are kings that shall arise out of the earth, that's what I'm thinking. They're arising out of the earth. Excuse me. Artist of Elion says, he even says the dragon is metal. I'm trying to understand what you mean there. Maybe it's something I haven't thought about before. If you can explain at all. Oh, maybe when he says great iron teeth. It's crazy. Iron. It's metal. That's probably what you're talking about. I never thought of that, really. I mean, I've thought about it, but it says it's metal. I mean, that was the 4th beast. That's the one. I think that's the same one that John saw coming up out of the earth in Revelation 13, verse 11. The one that made fire come back down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's what that Falcon 9 rocket does. It makes fire come down when it lands. Which I think is just a great sign and wonder. It's a satanic miracle being performed. Let's see here. Like, there's more to this. Like, a lot of people say, oh, is that book inspired, or is this book inspired? I don't think it's like that. I think that things are revealed to people and they write them down, like in the prophets of God. They've written it down, and however we get the books, they've been dragged through the mud by the time we get them. But there are clear things that are in some of these books, even the books that people doubt or cast doubt on or whatever. The Apocalypse of, the Testament of Solomon. Check this out.
Again, in those days, there came to me a letter from Adares, the king of the Arabians, saying, to King Solomon, greeting, we have heard of the wisdom that has been given to thee, and that thou art a compassionate man, and that thou hast power over all spirits that are in the air, or on the earth, or under the earth. Now be it known to thee that there is a destroying spirit in this land, for every day at dawn there arises a wind which blows for 3 hours, and it is so venomous that every one on whom it blows dies, and it kills the cattle also. Now therefore we entreat thee in thy wisdom to devise some means, and if it may be, send us a man who can capture the spirit. And if thou canst do so, then I and my people will be tributary unto thee, and Arabia shall keep peace with thee. And we beseech thee, make not light of our petition, for we are in a great strait. And so, farewell. When I had read this letter, I folded it up again and gave it to my chief counselor, saying, bring it again to my remembrance after 7 days. Then I thought upon the matter, and after the 7 days I called one of my servants and said to him, Make ready a camel, and get an empty wineskin. And he did so. Now the wineskin was made of a whole hide of a beast, so that it had the upper parts of the 4 legs remaining upon it, the legs being sewn up, and the neck open. I said to him further, Take this ring, and go into Arabia, to the place where the venomous wind blows, and take the skin, and hold the ring in front of the mouth of the skin towards the wind, so that the wind shall blow through the ring. And when the skin is blown up, you will know that the demon is inside it. Then hasten and tie up the neck of the skin, and seal it with the ring, and put it upon the camel, and bring it to me. But if on the way the demon promise you gold and silver and treasures to let him go, see that you do not obey him, but rather make him reveal to you where the treasures are hid, and mark the places, and come on to me. Now go, and good success be with you. So my servant set out and came to Arabia, and the men of the country doubted much whether he could capture the spirit. But when the day was dawning, even the first day after his coming, he rose up and set the skin with its mouth towards the wind, and laid the ring in the mouth of it. And the wind blew through the ring, and entered into the skin, and puffed it up. And the man caught the neck of the skin, and closed it, and sealed it with the ring in the name of the Most High. Then he abode yet 3 days in the place to make trial of his success. But the poisonous wind blew no more, so that all the Arabians were assured that the demon was safely shut up. And they rejoiced greatly, and gave him many precious gifts, and did him great honor. And when he set forth to come back to me, they accompanied him to their borders. So he brought the skin back to Jerusalem, and put it in the midst of the temple. Now at this time I, Solomon, was somewhat troubled, because I had a great stone made ready to be placed upon the corner of the temple, and none of my workmen and none of the demons were able to lift it and set it in its appointed place. But I was exceedingly desirous to put it there, because it was of such beauty and excellence. And on the morning after my servant was come back out of Arabia, I went down to the temple, thinking by what means I could lift the stone. And as I entered the temple, I saw the skin, and it rose up and hopped 7 paces, and fell on its face, and did obeisance to me. And I marveled, and bade it stand up, and it stood on its feet, puffed up with wind. Then I asked, Who are you? And a voice answered me from within the skin, I am Ephippus, who dwell in Arabia. And I said, What can you do? And it answered, I can overturn kings' palaces, and wither the green trees of the wood, and I can move mountains. Then I said, Are you able to move this stone, and lift it up, and set it upon the corner of the temple? And it said, Not only can I do so, O king, but if I have the demon that is in the Red Sea to help me, I can bring up the great pillar that is there, and set it in whatever place you command.
Okay, I'm pausing it so that I can remind you to pay attention right here. When he's telling Solomon what he can do, this demon, and he talks about this great pillar. Now listen to what happens. It's crazy. And keep in mind what we've been talking about, that landing rocket and all of these rockets flying around in the sky.
So I said, Lift up the cornerstone. And the skin first of all became flattened, as if the wind was gone out of it, and slipped itself under the stone, and then it blew itself out again, so that the stone was lifted up upon its back, and it walked upon its stumps, bearing the stone to the ladder, and climbed up and set the stone safely in its place upon the corner of the temple, and I was greatly rejoiced, and all Jerusalem with me. After that I sent Ephippus to fetch to me the demon that is in the Red Sea, and commanded them to bring with them the great pillar. And after a while I saw the pillar being borne through the air, and was astonished at the strength of the 2 demons. And when I considered with myself how mighty they were, and how they could shake the whole world in a moment of time, I feared to let them go. I made therefore a circle about them in the air with my ring, and said, Stay there. And the demons stayed, holding the pillar sloping between heaven and earth. And there they are to this day. And if anyone looks, he can see the pillar sloping in the heavens, but the demons he cannot see. But when they let fall the pillar, then will be the end of the world.
To blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven.
And if anyone looks, he can see the pillar sloping in the heavens, but the demons he cannot see. But when they let fall the pillar, then will be the end of the world. And if anyone looks, he can see the pillar sloping in the heavens, but the demons he cannot see. But when they let fall the pillar, then will be the end of the world.
Whoa. Think what you want. If you didn't catch that, it said when they let down the pillar, then will be the end of the world. Interesting. Another video, shout out Now You See TV, Now You See TV, John Pounders and David Carrico on the Midnight Ride. They were talking about something interesting, and check this out. I think there's something when we're talking about the space station and the bottomless pit, and how NASA says it's free falling, it's in 0G, it's perpetually falling for 22 years and still hasn't reached the bottom, because there is no bottom. It's just darkness, and it's an abyss that never ends. Everything in that solar system is falling around something else. It's free falling. They did 0G experiments on the way to the moon and on the way back in 0G. As soon as their engines shut off, 0G. Don't ask me. Check this out.
You know, we've been studying as deep as we can into some of the astronomical events that have taken place in the world. And when we start talking about this destroyer, obviously millions of things. Something major comes to mind, but a lot of different clues on what a lot of mythologies talk about. I mean, almost all of them have this star or thing or whatever you want to call it that comes forth and creates a catastrophic event that really actually changes, and you'll get into that, but changes time itself.
Yeah, it changes time itself. It changes the calendar.
This star.
This is the only place that humans have outside of planet Earth where humans can live. And if you like, down there on Earth, you can actually see it with your naked eye. You just go to the ISS website and it tells you when to see us. You can look up in the sky and you will see this bright little star moving over the sky.
This star.
Now, when this war begins, also the war in the heavenlies will take place. And we're going to look at a text here in 2nd Esdras, and we're going to look behind the scenes into the spiritual realm for just a moment. In 2nd Esdras 15:35, and they shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth.
Landing rockets. Remember, the prophets were just telling us what they saw.
And even their own star.
That's me filming the space
and
station.
And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly. And even their own star. And even their own star.
bright little star moving over the sky.
And even their own star. Now, this talks about casualties in the angelic realm of stars being beat down to the earth by other stars. This is literally an angel war that we're seeing, and the war in heaven. This is going to be wild, and I don't know how much of this we're going to see. During this time, the word in Isaiah says, you know, you better get in and hide, because there's going to be all kinds of strange going on. This is when Jesus said men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. Their hearts are just going to give out because it's just too much for them. Now, there is a precise correlation to this in the scripture about the smiting down of the stars. Now, let's read it in Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. That there's going to be casualties in this spiritual war. We're actually going to have angels fighting and destroying one another, casting them to the ground and stamping them. And in this text, it says that the little horn will do this.
Okay, I paused. Excuse me, I paused it because I wanted to tell you what's coming up next in this video. Remember, we were just reading Daniel 7, and it was talking about those beasts, and they were rising out of the earth. And then he has another vision that's part of the chapter 7, but it's chapter 8, and that's coming up in here, part of that vision. And I think, like, that dragon capsule is on your screen. I'll zoom in and show you where it is. It's right there. That's the dragon capsule. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, who is able to make war with him? Okay, so coming up in this video, though, is that Daniel 8.
Behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him. There was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south, and toward the east, and toward the pleasant land. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven. And it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And an host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered.
Do you hear that? It cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. Choose the truth, you guys. This is evil. That's why God showed these prophets these visions of the time of the end, so that we would know. So, this isn't over yet. But actually, somebody said something in the chat that I wanted to say something about. J Law. Thank you, Joe. And they shall wonder, Revelation 17, verse 8. And you know what? Something really interesting about that is Revelation 17:8. It says that they shall wonder when they behold it. It says in the middle of that, it says that don't have, or I better go there. Actually, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to play the video. But what I would point out about Revelation 17:8 is it says that they're beholding it. They'll wonder at it, and they're beholding it, or whatever. They're seeing it. They're looking at it. They that dwell on the earth shall wonder when they behold, or whose names were not written in the book of, yeah. I don't want to try to quote it and quote it wrong. So, yeah. This is crazy stuff, I think.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
And even their own star.
This bright little star moving over the sky. This is the only place that humans have outside of planet Earth where humans can live. And if you like, down there on Earth, you can actually see it with your naked eye. You just go to the ISS website and it tells you when to see us. You can look up in the sky and you will see this bright little star.
This star
moving over the sky. Here we are, 6 humans on the International Space Station, the embassy of humankind out in space.
And even their own star.
You can look up in the sky and
they that dwell on the earth shall wonder.
Oh, here it is, J-Law, right here in the video, right now.
Whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. When they behold the beast.
You can look up in the sky and
they behold the beast.
You will see this bright little star.
They behold the beast.
Moving over the sky.
They behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
You can see that on many, many nights. And if you see it, think about that humans actually built this.
And even their own star.
On the International Space Station, outside of planet Earth.
So incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black.
Wandering stars.
And we already watched this video. Robert Breaker, he's a good guy to watch too. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to watch, isn't there? So yeah, that Daniel 8 thing was crazy, wasn't it? Sounds like, to me, it sounds like he's describing a rocket launch where there's stage separations. He said it breaks into pieces, you know. He even says it stamps the residue with the feet of it, like whatever's left over with the feet of it. It has great iron teeth. There's just so many things that I think we should be careful that we're not going to ignore. I'm not going to ignore it. Let's see here. So about the heavens. This is the last video, you guys. This is the last one, but this is probably one of my favorite ones. It makes me look at the sky a little bit differently when I actually realize what Enoch talks about in chapter 71 of the first book of Enoch. But thank you guys all for hanging out for 2 hours and 38 minutes. That was a good stream there. Yeah, this world's crazy. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, share the information if you get it. It's not like here. When I think about it, the people that are gonna want to be thinking they already know everything, they're not gonna change what they believe. Some of them I apparently will at some point in time. But it's kind of weird to be where we are. So anyway, keep stuff like this in mind. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens. And I saw the holy sons of God. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment and their faces shone like snow. And I saw 2 streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinth. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand, and lifted me up, and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars, and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens, and I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals, and between those crystals tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its 4 sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael, and Raphael, and Gabriel, and Phanuel, and the holy angels who are above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael, and Gabriel, and Raphael, and Phanuel, and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice, with the spirit of power, and blessed, and glorified, and extolled. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might. For that he is strong in power, not one faileth.